lovely. Well, it's not so lovely, but it's the 21st and it's the day after the 20th and the day before the 22nd. We're moving along.
What a beautiful, beautiful sight.
You like that?
Yeah, well, the boat in the background with the
We've
buffet and the
we've
gambling and
we've done a lot of landscaping in up in these parts these days.
absolutely gorgeous. Where is
What
that?
this is Tahiti, I think, or someplace like that. But you know what? It's a
Okay.
new feature in Skype. Uh, an update came through today. Now, this is the Windows desktop version of Skype. Your home Skype may differ, but this is version 8.59.0.77. And I'll show
I'll
you how.
remember that.
Try to remember that. I will show you how this works if I can.
Okay.
No, now that we're on the call, I can't. But what you simply go into your settings and you will see an additional setting there where you
Did they
can
make you
add.
pay for this?
They do not. No, where you
Oh,
can add a background. You can choose a blur, which is what I was using before for my background, or then you can upload a photograph of your choice. And if you have a fairly even colored background, it will blend in nicely and give you this sort of cheap chroma effect. So there
okay.
we
So
are.
you don't have your chroma key thing that you said you
I
were
do have
getting.
my background. Yes, we can talk about that later this week. I think it arrived yesterday. That's probably why I'm getting a fairly seamless. You're not seeing too
No,
many ripples
no.
here.
Your head looks as if there's a line going around it,
Yes,
but
I have a
that's nothing.
huge head, and it's getting, especially in the sunlight here.
Look at you
Es-
do you
I
do
need
have a
some.
bit of a
I need.
shine on
I need
there.
some SPF 30. But anyway,
Wow,
check
that's
check.
really cool.
Yeah, check your Skype update, and you'll see a little notification there. Update your Skype, and it should show up. If not, probably in the next few days, depending where you are. So that's the technical news for today.
Wow. Can you change that during a call, or do you have to do
No,
it before? You
to
can't.
my knowledge, no. It's like Zoom. You can't do it on the fly. You set it up once, then you start your call, and then it stays where it is. So, but
Well, this is a nice view. It's very nice. It's
thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
Good show.
Coming up, we'll be chatting with my sister, Lynn, who is a teacher.
Hmm.
I'm realizing that a lot of this is all kind of coming into the same sort of thematic narrative here. It's about how to deal with communications the way you and I are and have been doing before the pandemic came along. I'm reading Susan Pinker's book here, The Village Effect, and it's subtitled How Face to Face Contact Can Make Us Healthier and Happier. And that's an interesting situation to be in. And I'm really looking forward to speaking with her.
I
Um,
watched her TED Talks. We have the book. Both Betsy's read it, and I started it. The highest rate for death among men who in the Western world live 5 to 6 years less than women is lack of social interaction. You
yep.
can drink, you can smoke, you can not exercise, but if you don't get really touchy feely, Joe Biden's social interaction may be a bad choice as an example, but if you don't, it is the most likely thing to send you off the end of the pier.
We could go on. It's
Yeah,
fascinating. Men
yeah,
have looser social networks than women do. Women are much
yeah.
more tightly knit. It goes on and on and on. Fascinating. I also
Mhm.
touched base with Patrick Doyle yesterday. Patrick
Oh,
Doyle,
good. Patrick is a wonderful old friend.
Patrick, whom you and I knew as a reporter about 120 years ago, he is
Yeah.
now a psychotherapist. Now I say he is a psychotherapist, a licensed
Living near
counselor,
Ottawa. Yeah.
lives in the Ottawa area. And I had to laugh yesterday. I said, "So, Patrick, what have you been up to?" And he writes me a paragraph about this long. I'm in the clinic doing, I'm doing this, and I'm working with disadvantaged youth. What are you doing? And I almost wrote back, "Well, I went for groceries today." I mean, it's what am I supposed to say? We're
Oh no,
talking
he's
to
he's
these.
amazing. He's a
He's
friend on
quite the
Facebook. He's a photographer too. Very
he's.
good
I
photographer.
haven't seen Patrick in so long, but I'm looking forward to it. And he's agreed to make some time for us as well in the coming days. So
That'd be great. I'd
we're
love.
going
I
to get
was
Patrick on.
going to suggest him.
And that's going to tie in to what's going on inside as much as what's going on outside too, right? With all of us right now.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
anyway,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to
Wonderful.
that. And tomorrow, Andy Nelman apparently still on
Yeah.
tap. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see what.
I've got a couple of quick things to
Oh,
share with
please.
you,
I'm
or
sorry. Yes,
is
go
Lynne
ahead.
waiting in the wings?
No,
I'll just
she's
be a
fine.
very quick
She's
one.
on standby. Please go ahead.
This is April the 21st, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got to share the screen, and it doesn't
You
seem
did
to be
just what?
working for me.
No, it was on there. There you go.
Okay,
You're
you're right.
sharing.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't go to the. Okay, so this is April the 21st, 753 BC. Romulus and Remus
Mm-hmm.
founded Rome,
Yep.
and they started out having some mummy issues with a wolf,
Yeah.
but they grew up, and finally they don't look as if they like each other in this picture, kind of like my brother and me. But they decided rather than killing each other to found one of the found whatever, one of the great empires. And you see that guy was in court for years over that statue. They tried to haul him into court over that statue. This is Rome at its height.
Yeah.
It's a reconstruction, obviously.
Is it a reconstruction? It's not.
And this guy is saying, look, just stop looking at me. Leave me the hell alone. It's sunny, it's warm, it's Mediterranean. Yeah. And this, of course, is Rome when it started its downhill slide.
Rome, New York, of course.
And this is, I mean, the guys really buggered it up in the end. It didn't work out all that well.
Okay.
Yeah, and this guy died in the 50s of exposure. And in 1918, on April the 21st, one of the big kills of World War I, the famous dog fights with the
Red Baron.
The Red Baron, Baron von Richthofen, was shot down allegedly by this Canadian pilot, Arthur Roy Brown. It was his 10th kill, but there is still debate more than a century later that Baron von Richthofen flew so low to get away from Brown that Australian ground troops fired at him, and his autopsy later wasn't quite sure whether it was from the machine gun from Brown or from Australian ground fire. So it's quite an interesting debate.
Interesting debate. And now
Yeah.
my brain streams have a theme. Yours make no sense at all. Absolutely no sense. So this is.
You want to go back to Rome, New York?
That's right. Yeah.
So there we are.
No, go to 4 minutes and 38 seconds. It won't make any sense until you get there.
So there we go. Okay, I'm back with you. No, I'm on the share screen again.
No, you're on.
No.
You do it every damn time. Click it again.
Jesus. Okay, there we are.
There you go.
Okay.
And it's this part that I like here.
Oh God, don't look down. Well. So I thought I'd share that my stream of consciousness, which is really more like a dam broke.
We're going downhill here. So let's just see if we get Lynne the Pin on the phone.
Okay. Is that what is that the nickname you gave Lynne?
Lynne the Pin. Yeah, that's her.
It's her moniker, family moniker.
She's. I don't know where she is. Actually, we never know where exactly geographically she is, but she continues to make a living and putting one foot forward, one foot in front of the other one. She lives in somewhere between Toronto and here. She's in the I think Prince Edward County officially is where she lives. Is where her home is.
But not far from here. Near Kingston.
She was teaching in Toronto up until obviously quite recently. So we're not able to reach her right now. Okay. Oh, there she is. I think she's.
Hi.
Hello.
Sharing your screen, browse the web, share your screen. Just trying to turn this on. Oops.
Join. Are you washing dishes or something?
Here you are.
There I am.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, where are you?
I am in the booming metropolis of Cardinal, Ontario, on the St. Lawrence,
That's
across.
where.
I know where Cardinal is.
I can see the U.S. from where I am, which is they're far enough away.
Is that Is that Prince Edward County? Yes? No.
No, this is something else.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Edwardsburg,
Yeah.
something or other. Yeah,
You always see it on the 401, the sign for Cardinal.
exactly. And it's
Yeah. Hi, Lynn.
high. It's really only worth driving past.
Ah,
Okay.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that your water pump we hear, or is it my pacemaker that's going south again?
I don't know what the noise is. I know my
Okay.
students were complaining about that as well. So I apologize. I don't know what that
Okay.
is.
Okay. Now, tell us, my dear, what you teach and to whom. How old are the students, the ones you teach in Toronto, when you were teaching anyway, up until recently?
Still I am, only doing it in a different way. I have 27 students, and it's a split grade 5 and grade 6. So they are preteens. So they are
ooh.
exactly. They are pre-adolescent. So we have interesting things happening at this level. For example, for the girls, we get donations from various produits hygiéniques companies, which I am to instruct and distribute.
Oh my God. By Zoom?
Yeah, no, we actually did this live in the classroom. These huge boxes arrived, and the principal calls me in the office and says, "Look, this, the Always company donated these to you. Please, get them out of my office and deal with this."
I'm sorry.
So,
How did this conversation tank this quickly here? How did we go south in 5 seconds? Explain this to me.
Actually, I find this fascinating.
I know, but
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Here,
Was it
girls, try
what?
this out.
What? No geography? What?
Well, it is a sort of geography.
Okay.
this is your younger sister after all. Dave, that I used to sneak into his room and listen to his, or at least go through his records because I could hear the music playing from my room, which was right next door. But when he would leave, I would sneak in to see who are these artists. I was listening to Donny Osmond, and he was playing stuff like In a White Room with Black Curtains.
Oh
And
my,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
sounds like you were playing Donny Osmond. My
Yes.
God,
yes,
you're a lot younger than Yvonne.
but no, I'm not. My tastes in music evolved, thankfully, because of him. I ended up, seeing Queen live when I went to university. So I did evolve. And it was
Okay. Now
all,
wait. Okay. Wait a minute. We're on Eric Clapton now.
Lynn, it is just such a joy to meet you
This
again.
interview is almost like it's like Dave's stream of consciousness displays. It make no sense. Okay. Now
but,
wait a minute.
but,
So there.
but, sorry, I was going to just say one more thing before we get back to teaching. Dave, my mother, I listened to that one. Oh my gosh, she has no idea how funny she is, right? Doing the whole description of the man in the trench coat. I was just.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up again, Lynn. The police are actually now looking. It's a cold case. They've opened it up again, so to speak. Thank you. Gee, you made a great choice. Getting Lynn on. This is the best show we've had. Yeah,
Oh
and we
my.
haven't even started yet.
We haven't even gotten into. Well, we have. So they are preteens, and it's grade 5th and 6th grade you're teaching.
They're 11 and 12-year-olds, with what comes with that, of course, as one hormones start to. Yes.
Okay. So you're teaching a number of subjects, yes?
Yes, I teach everything except for phys ed and one of the arts. So, I teach French, math, science, social studies, English, you name it, I teach it. Plus, of course, I'm a camp counselor and a psychologist and a nurse and all the rest of it.
So that brings us back to, you were talking about personal hygiene products and things like that too. Are you finding that the young women that you are teaching are clueless coming into this, or?
A lot of them are. That my demographic is inner city school, downtown Toronto. So a lot of new Canadians, and there are some who are completely clueless. So it's
Wow.
Lynn, I was wondering in certain subjects, when we went to school, books, even my son Jeff remembers books. How do you do that in this pandemic? There are no books involved, right? I would
No,
imagine.
there are no books, but thankfully, in my school, uh, they have quite a few computers. So the students started working with computers in September, but they're used to that. Uh, they do it by grades. So all of the grade sixes, they're the first because they will go to high school next year. They all have computers. Then they went down to grade five. So all of my grade fives have computers. Grade four, everybody has a computer, and they've almost got it so that every student in the school has a computer.
And
So
they can do research that you tell them to look
yes,
up, and I
yes.
see.
And
Okay.
we do it in class. We've been doing it in class since September as well. So yeah, so they're used to it. I did have one girl. She arrived in Canada from France in September. Never touched a computer in her life. There was one computer in the school, and it obviously wasn't hers. It belonged to a teacher. Never touched one. So she's having a bit of trouble, but most of them are pretty savvy. A lot of them have cell phones already, and
Yeah.
so they're pretty savvy.
So
So
are you in touch with them on a daily basis? Do you Zoom or Skype or what do you do?
well, Google Classroom is the platform we use, and it has
Google Classroom.
it has a Hangouts/Meet application on it, and it's the same as this basically. Not as clear and not as the audio video isn't as good, but yes, I do video chat with my 27 preteens every day.
Oh, God. So Lynn, is there a link for Google Chat that they all know that is the same
Yeah.
link that they all go to at a given time to, I say?
That's exactly how it works. And I started before we were mandated to do it because I could see it coming, and there was no way I couldn't see myself setting up 27 kids,
Oh my
over.
gosh, no.
So there have been technical difficulties, and but I've worked on most of them out. There are a couple that were a little bit late figuring out. They don't necessarily have the computer they had at school, for example. There's only one computer in the household with several children.
That's
They
a
were
challenge.
they were allowed to go to school though and pick up in a drive-by. You open your trunk and somebody throws a computer from the school in your trunk. They were allowed to do
Yeah.
that so that everybody could have one from the school. But as soon as you come to school, you are assigned a password and a login name. So they all have that, and they can connect to the Google Classroom platform that way.
All at once, or do you do it in groups of?
Well, I get them all at once every day, and then I've started to break them down. I had them all at once so that I could walk them through, click here, do this, click that, to access the classroom calendar so they could get their assignments and all of that.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a challenge. So I was listening to your wife, of course, talk about the challenges as well, Dave, of setting up.
Yeah,
her.
well, I think she's going to watch this, Lynn, to learn something from you, because she's not starting hers until the middle of next month, and she's learning that the technical thing is going to be the first part of the
Yeah.
course, really, in getting people au courant, Yeah.
Exactly. Getting everybody on the same page when you have more than 3 people and of course, I can't, some of them are at the push any key. They're looking for the any key stage, whereas a lot of the others, thankfully,
That's like Dave. Um,
You promised you wouldn't bring that up. My hands are here. My hands are here.
What's about? So I suspect your days are longer now than they were back when you were in the classroom.
Very much so, actually, as it turns out, because as soon as I'm offline, I have to start solving these problems. My inbox has over 900 emails from them at this point.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we've been doing this for a few weeks because they're asking me, well, what about this? And I don't understand this part of the assignment, and never mind the technology. And then the parents are also contacting me saying, I can't hook them up. The audio's not working. The video's not working.
Boy.
Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh God, that's from 3 days
Wow.
ago.
And
But Lynn, you stay in where you are in Cardinal, though, right? You don't go into Toronto or anything like that,
Well,
right? You're doing it from there?
I am doing it from here. I left when I was supposed to be leaving for March break, and well, I'm still on March break, aren't I? And the problem is, the school board actually has sent a couple of things that say you should be back on le territoire. I should be back in the school board's district, if you will. But of course, I refuse to do that because my district is the center of the outbreak. So I just said, no, I can do this remotely, and I haven't had any issues. But technically speaking, I should be on school board grounds, if you will.
Territory. And do you have these kids all? I mean, you just mentioned all the subjects you teach. Do you have these kids for what? Several hours? The whole? What is it?
No. Fortunately, well, the school board has issued guidelines, and you're supposed to meet for this number of hours each day, and you're supposed to concentrate on these subjects, and blah blah blah. But of course, the reality is different. I have 27 students, and meeting 27 students twice a week is just not going to cut it. They're going to lose so much. I can't afford to do that, so I meet with them every day. There's just too many of them. And then after the main meeting, where I explain, this week's work or today's work and answer all the questions, then I break them down into smaller groups, and I meet with 3 or 4 groups of 4 every day after that as well, because the hardest thing is teaching math. Normally I don't.
Oh God, yeah. Can you imagine? Oh, no wonder I was so lousy in algebra.
God.
Madame, I can't. I don't know how to. What do you mean? I can't teach? So normally my background is not blurry like this. I have a white wall behind me, and this coming week I'm going to have to start, showing them how to faire des regrouping when you're doing subtraction, like 100 minus 42. Well, what do you do with all those zeros? There's no way I can explain that verbally.
Tu enseignes en français aussi.
Oui, j'enseigne en français. Everything.
This is done in French, David.
I was going to ask Lynne, if you're teaching all these subjects French obviously, but I mean you're teaching geography en français.
Everything's in French.
Everything.
Except for English.
Oh my goodness.
I also
Except what?
English. I also teach English.
Okay. Because again, with a lot of these students, English or French, they're not their first language, right?
A lot of them, actually, a lot of the, a large percentage have French as a first language, but not everybody. There's also a lot of Spanish in there as well. But for example, in a lot of the African countries, as Ivan knows very well, there's a lot of French there.
Oh, Algerian and so forth.
Yes, right? Even my Congolese students and my South African students, and they all speak French. My Rwandan students all speak French as well. So that's not a problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about me? What about I
went out for groceries today.
It's amazing you're back here. Lynne, how do you maintain interest if you were not standing physically in front of these kids? Because as you know, they're a bunch of kids. How do you maintain interest and keep their attention over Zoom?
I know
or Google.
That this one over there, I know they can turn their cameras off too, of course. So I know the students very well at this point. So I know that so-and-so is not paying attention or whatever because he's not chatting. They can chat at the same time. And a lot of them are asking me questions as I'm presenting. So they're chatting. So I'm answering questions as well verbally, and I'm writing them down, doing double duty. And so once in a while I'll send out a message and say, okay, Joseph, you're not listening. You're not listening to me.
Oh my God.
But there's no way to, in classroom, I'm pretty much a game show host to begin with, as you can probably tell, but it's a lot harder to read your audience when they can turn the camera off.
Oh boy. I don't know that I could do this. I'm being facetious, of course, but if I were not in neck-wringing range, I don't know that I could do this job. It's just amazing.
It's amazing. You and I have been friends for 40 years. Lynne, you must be exhausted at the end of the day. You must be just wrung out.
It is. And then plus there's the whole, the stress of the tsunami that has hit. And these kids are cooped up, and I can see in the background, children in apartments on the 10th floor who are not going outside. And it's just, it's just, and the parents, I'm getting a lot of messages from the parents saying how much they love teachers now. And even my
Well,
cousin,
at least
our
you're
cousin,
getting some encouragement. Good.
Ivan, Nicole's brother, Paul, is saying stuff like, he goes, I have to tell you, I really, really hate the home teaching part. I really hate it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, we could go on forever, but
I
I'll let
know.
you let you get back to work. Thank you for giving us of your time today. And I had no clue it was this involved. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, Lynn, let us know how you're doing.
I will.
Keep in touch. It's good to talk to you. The next time we can talk about how you grade. Oh my God.
Yes, that's fun. Love you both, guys.
Love you too.
Salut. Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Bye, Lynn.
See you soon, dear. Bye. Oh my.
I know I'm
had a
in the same,
general
I'm in the same
idea.
boat. Yeah,
Oh.
how involved that is. I mean, our first questions were basically how involved it is. And it talk about a Gordian knot.
I get you. I get you. And she's my kid sister, and we're not that far in age, so she's cranking it out and having to stay energetic and up there every day. So
Great to see her again. I hadn't
wow.
seen her in years, and she's as charming as ever.
She's my kiddo sister. Okay.
Wow. And you and I can barely follow each
barely
other.
go to the front door to see if FedEx came by today. You know, God help us all.
Why are you showing Rome, New York? God.
Okay.
I'm gonna try the background thing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, try the background thing, and and I'll show you how if you can't get it figured out. But it should be fairly easy. You go into settings, and you'll see it. You'll see an additional setting below the screen where your camera shows up there in the settings.
Okay, well, is my background monochrome enough?
Well, you see, try it, and you
Yeah.
can upload various photographs and see which ones kind of blend in because it works fairly well actually. Mine is not a green chroma key; it's just a blue background, which I'll show you eventually. But as you can see, life is good here in Tahiti. Yep.
My God, gorgeous.
Okay, tomorrow, Andy Nelman.
Yeah, and as when I was looking up stuff about Andy, I hadn't realized he was on Craig Ferguson's show.
He's done
and
so much stuff.
There is an entire history behind that because I think Craig sort of thought he'd saved his life in his way because Craig was on a real downward trend before.
An enormous CV. I hope we can get past the CV tomorrow to talk to him about other stuff. But he's done so much since, and of course I associated with Just for Laughs, but there's been much more since the Just for Laughs days. So that's tomorrow.
Okay, Adama, take care.